Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today. I have another Dragon Ball review here for you. At the time, the final Dragon Ball movie before Dragon Ball Z began, and then we had Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone, which is the first movie of that. This is technically the last OG Dragon Ball movie before we had another one come out after Z had wrapped up, around the time GT was released, called Dragon Ball Path to Power, which I've also never seen. This particular film, I have very strange things to say about. Really good things, I would say, because this was a really good movie. This is the 1988 Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure. Now, recently, where I've been watching a lot of these Dragon Ball Z movies on clamshell, because I still hold dearly to my Dragon Ball Z clamshell VHS tapes, in case you don't know what a clamshell is. As I've watched them, they would have ads every once in a while for this movie, Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure. And I thought it looked familiar. I recognized the two Indians in it, and I recognized a few other things. General Tao is in this quite a bit. I think this is another one of those films, like the previous two, where they took a bunch of Dragon Ball episodes and compiled it into one movie. Maybe they added things, maybe they didn't. I didn't do any research this time around. But the Mystical Adventure VHS tape that I see ads for sometimes on the Z films, I am fairly certain that I either owned a couple of VHS tapes of Dragon Ball at some point in the past, and I don't know where they are now, but I know I had them, or I owned this movie at one point on VHS. Because certain parts of it I remember distinctly, whether they be in flashbacks at some point from the Dragon Ball Z anime, or commercials, or on TV at some point. I don't know. I don't even know if Dragon Ball came to America before Dragon Ball Z. I'm pretty sure Z is the first thing we ever got, but I could be wrong about that too. Anyway, Mystical Adventure is a fantastic movie, as I said a moment ago. I really enjoyed this. I think General Tao is a great threat. We have the introduction of Tien and Chaozu, as well as Korin. Korin is also introduced in here at one point. This was a fun movie, man. Out of the Dragon Ball films, so far, again, I haven't seen Path to Power. I'm about to start it, possibly in a few minutes before I go to bed in a little bit. It's about 2 a.m. right now. Before I start that, I will say right now, out of Curse of the Blood Rubies, Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle, and this one, this is easily the best one. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I don't care if we're talking about animation, the smoothness of it, the art style. I would argue that all of that is better than the previous two films almost entirely. I loved it. I thought it was magnificent from beginning to end. Huge recommendation. Probably the best Dragon Ball film, even including probably the next film, Path to Power, which I'm almost certain is probably not going to be any good. I heard it's like a reimagining of certain things from Dragon Ball. I don't know how true that is, how untrue it is. I don't know. But for right now, this was amazing, and I recommend it quite a bit for the most part. Now, this kind of at one point turns into a tournament movie, but most of the plot is about Chaozu, who's a fucking emperor, by the way. I never knew this. I don't think I ever heard of this. I thought he was just a weird mime that hung out with a monk. No, Chaozu is like a child king whose quote-unquote wife gets kidnapped, and then I was thinking, what the fuck? When did Chaozu get married? He didn't. He has like a toy. It's like a girl version of Chaozu. It's a drag Chaozu, if you will. Anyway, Tien is like his right-hand man bodyguard protector who's like a grown adult, like 20-something, 30-something, I don't know. How old is Tien? Why does he have 3 eyeballs? I mean, this is a franchise that has talking animals that dress up in clothing, so I don't know. Aliens are there. Gigantic fish, as big as whales, which whales are fish too, but, you know. Point is, very strange franchise. Tien has 3 eyeballs. Now, Chaozu also has like this kind of religious leader kind of guy. He has this goofy looking mustache and stuff. I know I've seen this guy in other things of Dragon Ball. I don't know how or why. That's why I'm pretty sure that I had this on VHS at some point. But again, I don't know where it is. But General Tao is kind of the leader of the military here. He is a martial arts expert. He's almost supernaturally strong to just be a martial arts guy. He has this goofy ponytail and stuff I remember too. And he kind of becomes, at one point, in the midst of the tournament arc that Chaozu pretty much has everybody compete in, but also, just in general, is kind of the big threat to Goku. This tournament becomes a thing where it's mostly Goku versus General Tao, and they never really get to finish the fight there either. It kind of expands into something later on, also referencing something that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, had made at one point, called Ariel? I don't know how to say her name. She gets on my nerves. It's this little girl with these two, fairy pixie things. I don't know how to explain it. Never been a fan of her. When she came back in Dragon Ball Super, was not a fan of that either. But she's in this quite a bit for the final act of the movie in a very strange way. So if you happen to be a fan of whatever this chick's name is, you will probably admire that a lot and probably smile a lot about that. I really enjoyed the film, and one thing I think complemented the movie amazingly well was the music. Whether it be the American version of the Dragon Ball theme song, I loved that intro to the movie, or the music throughout, or even the final song that was Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball, I get it. That's what I kept saying, with an Asian man singing it, and it was wonderful. I loved it, made me smile. The film has a lot of heart, because there's also a subplot in here about Chaozu's military guys and his kind of religious cult leader guy trying to get their hands on all the Dragon Balls because they secretly want to take over Chaozu's kingdom. And the final Dragon Ball, these two Indians on this reservation land happen to have. It's a father and son. I cannot remember the dad's name to save my life. The very young, cute son is named Upa. But I loved these two when I was a kid, and I remember them coming back as a reference. I think it was in Dragon Ball GT on the Explosion of the Earth story. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was there. Or they were there, is what I mean. And I really, really love both of them. They're fun. And they're fun here. I love how loving this Indian dad is to his kid. It's great. I love every moment of it. Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure, out of sitting through two about 3 weeks ago, really rough Dragon Ball movies that very clearly felt like a bunch of episodes of a show compiled into one movie, this was such a treat. Even if it's the same situation, it was a massive treat. I just thought Mystical Adventure, in every way, was just better than the other two before it. This is great. I really enjoyed this. And that little bit of a tournament thing I was really excited for too. I hope that if this is a bunch of episodes compiled into a movie, for 50 minutes by the way, once again, I really hope if I go around to eventually watching the original anime of Dragon Ball, I really hope that this tournament stuff lasts longer, because I love tournaments, and I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z because of the tournaments. Let me talk about the voice acting really quickly. Of course, Master Roshi is here, Bulma, Yamcha, everybody is here, Krillin. The kids playing Krillin and Goku were so much better than in the previous couple of films for the English dub. I don't know if they changed them up. I'm pretty sure it's the same kid that played Goku in the previous two, or at least the previous one. But he did so much better here. If it was a boy, sometimes they have women, grown-ass women, playing these kids in cartoons. Regardless of that, though, he was great. And the kid playing Krillin, boy or girl, I don't know, grown-ass woman, young kid, I don't know, they were great. I thought everybody was really, really surprisingly good here, and I love the voice, as always, for General Tao. I always thought he was really good. This is a great flick, man. Why did this hold up so well? And why does it stand out so much plot-wise and everything? Art style, animation, smoothness, all of that, compared to the previous two. I can't really put my finger on it, but dude, Mystical Adventure was a badass movie. It deserves so much applause because of how fun and humorous it is. There's even this one robot in here. He's a general and he's this humongous thing, and eventually it occurred to me he's modeled after Schwarzenegger in Terminator. He has the same kind of glasses, the same kind of goofy haircut, but it's colored purple here. It's great, man. Anyway, I loved Mystical Adventure. If you haven't seen this one, you owe it to yourself to watch this. I'm fairly certain this is my first time in probably 20 some odd years that I've ever seen this movie, if I ever saw it at all. because I'm telling you, this was really, really good, and I recommend it highly. It was very fun, very sweet, and that adventure feel of what I hear about people talking about Dragon Ball was so amazingly captured here in the best possible way, in case you haven't felt that feeling before. Anyway, I loved it. I recommend it highly. Easily right now the best of the Dragon Ball films. I'm sure almost 100% the Path to Power will not be as good as this was. This was magnificent. Anyway, check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a blast. You could almost skip the previous two and just watch this one. If you've seen the show, it's probably way better than this. I don't know, but movie adaptation-wise, I love this shit. I think Mystical Adventure is great. Definitely check it out, like I said. Thank you all for watching, guys. Is this your favorite of the Dragon Ball movies? Let me know that down below, too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, and the other 3 films, if you include Path to Power. Let me know all of that down below. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.